Today we're getting into the latest Tesla news, including Tesla's rough Q1 and the considerations there, Tesla's battery competition, software features finally arriving for all users, and more, so let's get into it. First up today, we often start these videos talking about new software features coming to Tesla vehicles and the Tesla app. However, one thing that's often overlooked by myself and a lot of people following Tesla is the fact that these updates are coming to iOS devices and not Android devices. For years now, Tesla has actually lagged behind in their Android updates of the Tesla app, which means that a lot of Tesla drivers out there with Android phones are actually not getting all of the latest features until later. And one such feature is now just arriving in the Android app version 4.43.5. This is the Dashcam Viewer within the Android Tesla app that allows users to manage dashcam and Sentry Mode videos directly from their device. Initially, this was of course only available to iPhone users, but now it has come to Android devices, and this is where users can view, delete, or save video clips directly from their Android device, which makes it much more convenient to share Sentry Mode clips, which especially lately has been a lot more useful for customers. The footage itself is stored locally on the USB drive within the car and then streamed directly to the phone, and then you can download the clip to your phone directly as well. Of course, this vehicle must be connected to cellular data or Wi-Fi for this feature to fully function, which may limit your access of getting that connection to your phone in areas with poor connectivity. But if you want to check this out on your Android phone and you have the latest app version, you'll navigate to Security and Drivers and then Dashcam Viewer in the app. It will take a few moments to connect, but then you'll have full access to all of the clips just like you do in the car. Of course, this does require a premium connectivity subscription of $9.99 per month in the US, and to manage data, Tesla does impose limits on video streaming from the vehicle, anywhere from 15 minutes to 1 hour depending on the region. It's great to see this feature finally arriving for Android devices, which means that it has finally arrived for all Tesla owners, at least back to certain years. I believe legacy Model S and X vehicles are some of the only vehicles that don't have this feature yet. On the other side of things, for Tesla software, the Model Y has just received a new update for 2025.8.6, which brings the Auto Shift beta. Some customers took delivery of their new Model Y launch series with this feature enabled already, but other customers are now getting this pushed to their vehicle. And it's a very cool feature that makes it that much easier to shift, since shifting is either done on screen or with the backup buttons above you, or done with a feature like this. This is full auto shift and not just auto shift out of park, so it is the one that will determine if you're in the middle of a 3-point turn. And then it gives you some very clear feedback on screen as to when it's going to auto shift, what input is required from you as far as turning the wheel and tapping the brake, and then it will do it for you and very clearly indicate and then beep. I think it's a great feature, and I've had it on the Model 3 refresh for some time, but I'm surprised they haven't brought it to the Cybertruck yet. Maybe it's next in line after they get it fully out on the Model Y. Next up today, Tesla's Q1 production and delivery numbers are officially in. Overall, analysts were expecting Tesla to deliver around 377,000 vehicles, and then others like Troy Tesla expected about 355,000, but overall, they were all much too high. Tesla's results officially say in the first quarter, we produced over 362,000 vehicles, delivered over 336,000 vehicles, and deployed 10.4 gigawatt hours of energy storage products. While the changeover of Model Y lines across all 4 of our factories led to the loss of several weeks of production in Q1, the ramp of the new Model Y continues to go well. So overall production was 362,615 vehicles. Of those, 345,454 were Model 3s and Ys, and then only 17,161 were other models. Those other models now comprise the Model S, X, and Cybertruck. For deliveries specifically, they delivered 336,681 in total. Of that, 323,800 were Model 3s and Ys, and only 12,881 were the Model S, Model X, and Cybertruck combined. So compared to Q1 of 2024, this is a very large drop. Tesla sold 50,129 fewer cars. It's a 13% drop and the biggest drop in Tesla's history here. One big thing as well is that the Cybertruck doesn't really appear to be helping much here. They don't divide up the Model S, Model X, and Cybertruck, but those sales alone are down from 17,027 to 12,881 year over year. So with the addition of that new, exciting car that had a lot of pre-orders, it's actually down. So first off, this isn't great. No matter how you play it, and no matter how many factors were at play, which we'll discuss, these are low numbers for a company who's supposed to be increasing vehicle sales. For the Cybertruck specifically, everyone got excited about 2 million reservations for that truck. Now, Tesla still hasn't produced a version of it under $80,000, and they're reportedly sitting on lots of inventory. The Model 3 refresh has already been here as well, and while it has great reviews, it doesn't appear to be helping all that much, at least at the current moment. APR incentives, inventory discounts, and more. So this has plenty of people upset, including large Tesla bulls like Dan Ives. He said, quote, "We knew 1Q Tesla deliveries would be soft, but these numbers were bad. We are not going to look at these numbers with rose-colored glasses. They were a disaster on every metric. Refresh issues, but brand crisis key. The time has come for Musk, fork in the road moment for Tesla." So of course we do have considerations here. First, Tesla Energy did very well. Energy is way up year over year. They were at 4.053 gigawatt hours in Q1 of 2024, and then a year later they're at 10.4 gigawatt hours of energy deployed. That business is a lot more predictable, and while it is down this quarter compared to last quarter a little bit, it always seems to grow pretty consistently. Then, of course, the Model Y changeover is a big factor here. At 4 different factories, Tesla was changing over to this new refreshed Model Y, and while it has launched and is in first deliveries, in many markets it still hasn't fully deployed. Then they had about 2 months of the Model Y changing over its production, and a little bit of a limbo as to when you can actually order this car. During those 2 months, you were able to order the lower trims of the old Model Y, but of course we had already seen that new version, so a lot of people were simply waiting for that. And that cheaper car still isn't available in places like the United States. It's still only the launch series available here at $60,000. Soon that car should start at about $44,990. So that's a big thing to keep in mind here, and it definitely did impact Tesla's delivery numbers as a whole. When they're changing over their most popular car out of 4 factories, and there's about 2 months of a period of limbo where they've shown us this new car with all of these great features, but haven't delivered it yet, that will massively affect sales. But it doesn't seem to be the full story, and that's something that is finally coming to a head for Tesla, and we kind of knew would happen in Q1. Another thing to mention here is that analysts did expect Tesla to deliver more cars than they made within the quarter. Of course, they adjust production in line with demand, so that could be why this happened, but without the Model Y there, they produced around 15,000 fewer cars than analysts expected them to deliver. So that would seem impossible, except for the fact that they did make 36,125 extra cars last quarter. So it seems they did have enough inventory as a whole to deliver the number that Wall Street expected. At the same time, other companies like Rivian are down as well. Year over year, Rivian saw a drop of 36%, and that is a very big drop there, but it is in line with expectations. So it's not as big of a deal because it's somewhat in line with Rivian's guidance as a whole. For Rivian as well, many aren't really expecting them to grow too much since the R2 is around the corner, and that's really the car that takes them to the next level. That's their Model Y equivalent and competitor. Overall, though, there is no cheaper Tesla vehicle yet. In fact, their cars have only really gotten more expensive in this past quarter. The Model Y went from a car that started at $44,990 with referral discounts, with inventory discounts, with APR incentives and more, to a car that starts at $60,000, is not qualified for the referral discount, and doesn't have incentives in certain markets. With that said though, there are incentives in areas like China, and the Model Y did sell very well in Q1 in China. In fact, for March, the Model Y was the #1 bestseller in China. So for the near future, over in South Korea, Tesla has announced that the Model Y is now available in other configurations, and it starts at $36,000 US. Hopefully those trims will come to the United States soon and we'll see lower prices. We also know that Tesla is on track to release lower priced models within the first half of the year, so in theory that should be coming in Q2, this next quarter. The funny thing about this though is the market's response, which is never really predictable. The market was actually up on Tesla. Tesla stock went up as a result of this. Immediately after it was announced, it went down a little bit, so you'll see some articles talking about that, but overall for the day, it went up quite a bit. So maybe this is the type of thing where people feel like this is the bottom and it's only up from here. In any case, this is causing a lot of people to want Elon Musk to focus in on Tesla more and get out of government things which have been so controversial. It's clear that he has had an effect here, and on the 29th, we had a lot of Tesla protests all around the country in the United States. So regardless of people's opinions on that situation and Elon Musk as a whole, many are happy to hear that Elon should be stepping back from Doge soon enough. Quote, "The president remains pleased with Musk and his Doge initiative," according to 3 Trump insiders, but both men have decided in recent days that it will soon be time for Musk to return to his businesses and take on a supporting role. One senior administration official said Musk is likely to retain an informal role as an advisor and continue to be an occasional face around the White House grounds. Specifically, as a special government employee as well, he is limited to 130 days. One other quote from Dan Ives here said, "Musk needs to get his act together, or else, unfortunately, darker times are ahead for Tesla." So things are really coming to a head as a result of these Q1 delivery numbers, and even some of the biggest Tesla fans are starting to say this is a problem. We'll see what Tesla's Q1 results end up as far as the financials go later in the month. But for the meantime, it will be interesting to see what Tesla announces in Q2, how the ramp of the Model Y goes, and then overall how deliveries go from here on out. How does the brand's perception as a whole look throughout 2025, and how long does it take for things to recover, at least those things that were affected by all of this craziness going on? The first thing I'm excited to see is Tesla actually announcing the cheaper trims of the new refreshed Model Y. Next up today, the big question for EVs going into the future is batteries. Will these batteries come down in cost? Will they be faster to charge? Will they last longer? All sorts of questions involved there. And a lot of people think that solid state is really the future of battery technology, but it's very clear that the industry is not moving on fully to solid state anytime soon. In fact, they're ramping up current battery production and introducing newer battery cells based on the same types of platforms and ideas, but in bigger form factors. As such, we're seeing new battery cells come from Samsung SDI, and they have commenced production of their 46 series cylindrical batteries. These are specifically 4695 battery cells coming from South Korea. Now, obviously, Tesla introduced their 4680 battery cell back in 2020, and that is now the exclusive battery cell powering the Cybertruck. Into the future, we hope that this battery will end up in other cars, because just recently, Elon Musk announced that Tesla's 4680 cell is now the lowest cost cell per kilowatt hour in the world. If they have achieved that, that means that the Cybertruck's battery pack is actually lower per kilowatt hour than any of the other cars that they ship, even getting batteries supplied from suppliers that are very efficient at making batteries. But since Tesla announced this, other companies are working on 4680 cells and then variations of 46 series battery cells. The 46 refers to the diameter of the cell, and then the 80 refers to the height in both millimeters. So over at Samsung, they're working on 4695 battery cells right now, which of course have a height of 95 millimeters, so they're a little bit taller than Tesla's. They're manufacturing this at their facility in South Korea, and this goes alongside a pilot line for 4680 battery cells at the same plant. It's very interesting to watch all of this develop because there are distinct advantages that come along with those larger diameter battery cells, and we're seeing a number of variations here. We're also seeing a lot of competitors. For instance, over at LG Energy Solutions, they're also working on 4695 battery cells, and those will be for the Rivian R2. This is new battery tech for Rivian, and it should bring long range and high safety specifically for the R2. So Tesla was kind of the first company to make that 46 millimeter diameter pretty popular, and now all of these manufacturers have tried that cell and are doing variations of it. In addition to Samsung and LG Energy Solutions, we're also seeing 4680 and 46 series battery cells coming from Panasonic and SK On. So while Tesla is expanding, their lead could actually grow with the 4680 cell and dry cathode if they can scale that. If they're already at the lowest cost in the industry, that's impressive, but then the dry cathode could be the thing that really takes them over the edge and makes it so that they need to remake all of their cars with 4680 battery cells, and maybe they even need to supply other suppliers. In fact, recent rumors said that dry cathode version of the 4680 battery cell should be coming to the Cybertruck later this year, but that, of course, remains to be seen. It's always very exciting to see the massive developments occurring in the battery space for electric vehicles. Of course, the battery is the most expensive part of an electric vehicle, and it's the part that people worry about the most. How long does it take to charge? How long does the battery last? What do I do if I get stranded somewhere and my battery dies? Well, progress is never happening immediately overnight to where you're getting suddenly double the range or 3 times the charging speed, but these iterations happen in time and they really make a difference. These 4695 and 4680 battery cells should be very exciting for the future, especially when it comes to cost of overall electric vehicles. And then of course, Tesla has made their platform on the Cybertruck with 4680 cells capable of charging at speeds up to 500 kilowatts. That hasn't been seen yet in public, but coming in Q3, we should see that with their updated version 4 supercharger cabinets. Over in China, we know that BYD has tested 1,000 kilowatt charging and actually delivered it on some vehicles, and that's very impressive to see. So the competition is really growing fierce in this space, and it's exciting to see. Soon enough, charging speeds should get much lower, and then overall cost of these batteries should come down as well. For a lot of people, like Tesla, that is their #1 priority is cost, and it seems that that is working well here. I'm excited to see the competition growing for this 46 series cylindrical battery cell in particular, and then excited to see what comes next as far as solid-state batteries. We're always a few years away from those batteries coming to fruition and actually scaling, but they should bring some pretty exciting things if they do come. In any case, in the meantime, we're still rolling with cylindrical battery cells for the majority of EVs, and people have scaled those very well, so we'll see what comes from all of these suppliers, like LG Energy Solutions, and then particularly Samsung SDI. But regarding smaller products that require much smaller battery packs, there's Tesla's future of Optimus. The Optimus robot was first introduced back in 2021 as just an idea, and today we're getting new video of Optimus walking around at Tesla's factory. Elon Musk posted a clip saying accurate actuators accelerate automation, and this walk actually looks pretty solid for a humanoid robot. We've seen a lot of different humanoid robots from various companies like Figure, Boston Dynamics of course, and Tesla, and there are a lot of great demos of these robots doing things, but this walk in particular looks pretty great. Someone posted a before and after, or a how it started versus how it's going video of the Optimus robot, and the progress really is incredibly impressive. Elon Musk said the rate of improvement is indeed rapid. There will be a legion of Optimus robots this year. Per usual, that remains to be seen, and a legion does indicate quite a number of Optimus robots, but we know that they are scaling up production at their Fremont factory, and they plan to have at least a few thousand of them in their factories working this year. Keeping those robots internal allows Tesla to definitely make a legion of these, even if they're not entirely useful yet. But it's something that takes real-world training, and they'll be able to do that on their own products. Now, over at other automakers, they are utilizing humanoid robots already as well. At BMW, they just talked about how this isn't a test environment, it's real production operations with a Figure robot video. This is a humanoid robot from Figure actually working on BMW's production lines, and we can see it performing these tasks pretty well, although it's very clear that this particular task was designed for the robot, and it's doing it incredibly slowly. I actually wouldn't be surprised if this is particularly slowing down this particular part of the production process, but that really is part of the AI and robotics scaling. At first, it's not actually going to be very efficient. It's going to take a lot of training, and it's going to be a little slow. But in time, the goal is that it speeds things up and can lower cost. Also, once these robots are good at something, they're permanently good at it, and you never have to retrain them. It's a pretty cool video regardless, and it shows you what this will look like in the future, but the hope, of course, is that it will be about 3 times as fast as this. Regardless, it seems that many companies agree humanoid robots are a big part of the future, so we'll see in particular how big of a piece of that market share Tesla ends up holding. Elon Musk thinks they're going to dominate this space because they're ahead in things with AI, but others see products from companies like Boston Dynamics and think that Tesla is way far behind. We'll have to see, but in the meantime, this Optimus walk does look pretty impressive. That's all the latest Tesla news for today, so in the meantime, if you want to see full details for the new cheaper Model Y that Tesla just announced, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.